Morning, everybody. This is the Friday, December 15, 2023 meeting of the Public Service Committee. Members George Tyros and Chair Walsh are present. Councilor Lowitz is not with us this morning. First order of business is the review and approval of minutes for the meetings dated September 29th and November 3rd, 2023.
Mr. Chair, I move that we waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented for the meetings of September 29th and November 3rd, 2023.
Second the motion. Any discussion of the motion? I only say that I thank the staff for the excellent preparation and presentation of minutes during the course of my time as chair of the committee, so I appreciate that. And I'm sure the committee members do as well. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. The second item on our agenda is the correspondence to Mayor and City Council for the winter of 2023-2024. Mr. Director.
I'd written this letter back in November, just trying to give the mayor and the council a heads up, as well as trying to get it out there for the residents to be aware that this winter we might not be as, the streets might not be plowed as quick as in the past. We're currently short in the highway side, 7 employees out of 25 positions, so a quarter of the staff is missing. We're also going to be having another retirement coming up right at the end of the year.
In the highway?
In the highway department. Two retirees, they have the hydraulic license and their CDL licenses. With the current salary that we have, the starting position for a laborer is $16.24. We're not getting very many applicants for it. And then also we're replacing people that are leaving with hydraulic licenses and CDLs with someone that they don't have their licenses. They can drive a pickup truck, but they can't drive the heavy equipment. So we're not replenishing our current staffing. So what it means is we have roughly, I'll say 25 routes in the city. So instead of being covered by individuals, at least coverage on every route, we're not going to have coverage in all the routes. Some routes require more than one driver, more than one plow truck. So instead of having 2 vehicles or 3 pieces of equipment in a particular plow route, we might have 1, or we might not have any. So we're going to end up having to spread our staff out, and it's just going to mean a slower response to get the city plowed and sanded. So at the last snowflake, let's say we got a foot of snow, the last snowflake that falls, from that point forward, it's about 8 hours of additional work to do the final run, come back, switch over, load up the salt trucks, get out and do the salt trucks. So it's maybe instead of 8 hours, it's now 12 hours. And if we have a longer plow, if we have a longer snow event, let's say that we get those storms that they last for 24 hours and it comes in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The guys have worked all day, and now at 3 o'clock it starts snowing. Now 24 hours on the clock on trying to plow, and then the last snowflake falls 8 hours after that. Some of them are going to get tired and go home. So it's just going to mean a worse situation for the.
It gets extended out even further. Right. Has the administration provided any indication of responding to the compensation challenges that our current ordinances provide?
As far as the DPW staff, no, because their contract expires in July, and part of the issues is if they open up the DPW contract to negotiate it, there's a reopening clause in every contract throughout the city. So, if someone's getting a piece of pie, it's going to have to go around through all the other departments as well. I will say, he did increase the hourly rate for contractors. We were currently paying about $70 an hour, just under $70 an hour. The school department and the state were paying $100 an hour. Sometimes the state's actually over that. So he bumped it up to 95 bucks an hour, but we still haven't got any responses from contractors. We used to have, at one time we used to have like 14, then we got down to 4, now we have none. So those contractors were plowing the police parking lot, City Hall. They were doing all the West Street parking lots. Those aren't gonna have coverage. We have to get the streets done first So now, we're literally have communicated with the police department that we're taking a city plow truck, parking at the police station, and thank God they've offered the police department to go out and plow their lots themselves. I mean, that's where we're at.
That's the situation we're in. It seems to me that as I drive around and I listen and, you know, it seems to me that this is a problem that is not unique to Gardner. It is statewide, even beyond that, it seems, regional-wise.
Yep.
And,
I agree.
So, well, let's pray for light winter. Just on that topic, are we using different salt this year?
It's the calcium.
Same,
Yeah.
just the color looks different.
Yeah, it depends on if you buy it from Morton or if you buy it from Lead. It's the same.
It's
pretty
the
much
same
the
product, yeah, not green this year.
Oh.
Or blue, whatever it was. Okay. Well, any,
Is there any plan to increase the contractor rate again to try to get any contractors on board?
I don't believe so.
And are there any tools at the city's disposal in terms of retention bonuses or anything for those DPW workers with experience that are retiring or moving on?
That would be a contract
That would be a
negotiation
contract negotiation.
between HR and the mayor.
What kind of handout there? Okay.
It used to be, 20 years ago, there was a benefit to work for the, in the public sector, and the private has caught up and surpassed. I mean,
well,
I think that's where we're at.
pension benefits remain the only real draw.
Right.
That is provided in municipal and state work. Because you don't see that in the private sector,
No.
except at the very highest levels.
Right.
The issue is that if you're 22, 24, you're not
That's
taking it.
that's not a draw.
Yeah.
You're gonna live forever.
Right.
And similarly to the police department, are there any means that other city employees potentially could earn extra by plowing?
Haven't thrown that out there. But now you're looking at a contract issue between the union because you have management doing their job. You know,
Gotcha.
So that would be a union
Alright,
issue as
it's a
well.
pretty tight
Yeah.
situation, got it.
Well, anything that we can do as a committee?
Just
Just to
lobby for the department, you know, and it's not just us, it's citywide. I'm obviously lobbying for the DPW, but it's a citywide issue. It's not just the DPW, it's the city salaries.
Well, I entertain a motion that we provide correspondence to the mayor with a copy to the human resource director to do all they can to supplement the workforce of the highway department, primarily the highway department in response to the employment challenges that the city is currently facing for the winter of 2023-24.
So moved.
Second the motion. Any further discussion?
No, I hope that we can at least have some tool at our disposal for, heaven forbid, a large snow event like we had last year. We had, I think, 3 feet of snow in one storm, so hopefully it's a mild winter.
Well, we hope. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes, and also we'll include that, the place of communication on file. Okay, next order of business, department updates, other than the one we've just received. Mr. Director.
When you pulled in, you might have gone past a Unitil trailer down on the end of Mancus Drive.
Right.
They're performing a drill, going through a process as if the city ran out of gas. So they're down there doing about a 4-hour drill. Then they've asked to use our facility, which is gladly. So that's what's going on right now. They should be done by noontime. The salt shed, we were talking about salt. Well, the salt shed, we did make some repairs to it. We got up on the roof. I believe it was built in the mid-90s. The aluminum roof is more or less corroded. I think between the salt and the environment that it's in, it's almost like paper. It's got a bunch of holes in it. The water has now gone down into the salt, and the first storm that we actually had to get an excavator in and break apart the salt before it could get load it onto the trucks, and so that was interesting.
On that topic, there's discussion and there were preliminary plans to put a salt shed across the street. Are there any developments on that front?
No, but our plan is I'm gonna put it in front of the capital improvement committee, and hopefully that it gets ranked high. You know, the plan was to put it across the street, so I'm hoping that it gets ranked. It's well needed.
Yeah, and it seems to be, there's some urgency to it, given the condition of the one that we have.
Yep.
But I entertain a motion that we provide the capital improvement committee with correspondence indicating our support of the funding and construction of a new salt shed.
So,
Second motion.
Thank you.
And on that topic, just seems that there's an urgency to this. If you combine that problem with one of shortage, manpower shortage, then you know we could be in trouble this winter. So, well, not that we're going to get a salt shed built this, but put it in the works at least.
Yep.
So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
We received a grant, $1 million grant from, what was it?
Mass Works.
Mass Works.
State, yeah.
For paving. The plan intent was to do Industrial Road for Wilkins. We got it, beginning of November, we got it. We've already completed Industrial Road, they pulverized it, they've finished the road, they put in a brand new sidewalk that goes up to the parks. They pulverized Fredette and Wilkins and put a base coat down for that. Next spring/summer, we're gonna be putting in a sidewalk that goes from Route 2A out to 101, the entire length of Fredette and Wilkins, a new, brand new sidewalk, and then top coat it. We've also tied in the 2 Coleman streets that run off of Fredette and Wilkins and Lower Parker from the Templeton line up to beyond the old Gem Industry building up beyond there. Again, that's just a base coat for the winter, but it will be complete next spring, summer.
What's the rationale for a sidewalk in an industrial area?
Believe it or not, I drive down that road and I see quite a bit of people walking to work. So, and you're tying 2 main numbered streets, so I try to put one in when we can, and we have the
And we
funding.
had the funding to do it.
Yeah.
Good.
Questions?
Not on that.
We have installed about 120 feet of guardrails at Cemetery Crystal Lake, and between the cemetery and Crystal Lake, there was a section that was some Jersey barriers that were kind of in rough shape, so we removed them and we put in a section of guardrail up there to protect the reservoir as well. So that's completed.
Dean, while you're on that, the cemetery, any plans on repaving the interior roadways there at all?
I had no funds, so I would,
I just ask because we're probably gonna get a lot more. I mean, there's a lot of people that do use it now, but once we connect that bike trail out and back, probably gonna get a lot more people through there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can also look to try to find some money for it as we get more grants.
That's what I was gonna suggest. You're creating the issue there with the bike trail. Maybe you need part of
We forgot that
the
little-
solution.
Yeah, one little section in between, but I just wondering, that's all.
yeah, our intent when we took the building down is to put up some vaults, I can't say the word.
Columbarium.
That's the word. So that's what's going on there. Monday, we have a webinar or a call with the state to finally get directions on getting the money for the transmission main.
That was gonna be my question. My next question was the transmission line.
So that's, we've been promised it for 2 years, now it's just a matter of trying to get it. So apparently we're closer to it. Unfortunately, on our end, the design and estimate is 3 years old, and the construction costs have probably gone up between 30 and 50%.
Yeah.
So what we asked for isn't enough, so the city's still gonna have to come up, well, I say city, the water department's gonna have to come up with the additional funds if it's over and above.
Well, it's certainly something that is, I mean, we're probably living on borrowed time with the existing one. It's over 100 years old.
Yeah, section of it was 1896.
Just for the record of those who may be watching this, the transmission line is the line from Crystal Lake up to the top of Reservoir Hill that transmits the water that's then distributed that, to the rest of this, to the public drinking water drinking supply. So certainly the line that's there is over 100 years old, and the opportunity is there to install a new one, and we need to take advantage of it.
That's all? Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Any questions for the director?
No, thank you for the update.
Well, you took away my one you anticipated. Okay, Mr. Engineer, floor is yours.
Thank you. Just a few updates. Currently, as you may know, I think James talked about it, DPW and the city is going to install a disc golf course up at the new park off of Leo Drive. Our GIS director, John Fiore, is working with a volunteer who's actually a employee at the fire department to come up with a layout for the course. So between those two, they've come up with some preliminary thoughts, and at some point, Dane's staff will be doing some selective clearing on some of the course holes, and then installing the cages and some, I guess you call them, yeah, what do you call them, where you start? The tees.
Sure.
So that's, maybe some of that will be happening this winter. The Wayside Dam project, there's some action there. Our consultant this week is filing our ENF with NEPA.
What is an ENF?
An ENF is an environmental notification form, similar to what we had to do with the sludge landfill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an ENF is required based on their state funding and the dam work. And then because the project is within a mile of an EJ population, an extended ENF/draft EIR will hopefully be approved, and the need for an EIR not there. I would anticipate that happens different from the sludge landfill because it's not a controversial project, but you never know. So that was being filed this week, and then, as you know, there was an item that went through finance and the council for additional funds for an additional permit through the Army Corps of Engineers for that project. I sent that out, so our consultant will probably start working on that. So that's moving forward as well as part of that project. And then the other thing, which is kind of big news, is we had applied for a Safe Streets for All grant for a planning, develop an action plan for vehicular, pedestrian, bicycle safety citywide. Federal Highway Administration just recently, we found out last week through Congresswoman Trahan that we would be getting it. I just got the email, I think Monday or Tuesday, saying it was awarded. That's a $230,000 grant to develop the citywide plan, so it will involve, I'm sure, some traffic counts, analysis of past crash data, coming up with an action plan, possibly doing some pilot demonstrations where areas identified that could be addressed. So the overall value of that plan, the cost is around $287,000. The grant is $230,000 with a 20% match, which we applied for as an in-kind services match. So the plan is to support our consultant preparing the plan in whatever way we can to provide the match that way. So at this point, I'm not looking for any additional funds for the match from the city. So that will start, as you know, with the transmission main project, funds from the federal highway, from the federal government aren't always forthcoming in a timely manner. So they've already said, please be patient as we try to figure out how to get you the funds. So when I know more on when the funds are coming and we can get that going, I'll let you know. But
That's just design.
it's planning and some design. The grant is typically awarded in phases, so implementation of the plan would be the next goal. So whatever.
Similar to what we have with a number of your projects. The design comes and then if you.
Planning, then design, yeah, the complete streets and, yeah.
So, right, so the next stage would be more of whatever is identified as improvements that can be made, design would happen, and then finally implementation. So I'd be hoping to get funds at each stage to implement the plan. So the vision of the planning is 0 fatalities and safer streets for all. That's with it, SS4A acronym comes from. So, that's exciting, hopefully we'll be getting that going soon.
Good enough. You mentioned the sludge landfill.
Yes.
Any new developments in that process?
At this point, our consultant is working on, at some point, we'll be setting up some public outreach meetings as part of what the MIPA is requiring in our response to the preparing the environmental impact report. That was important to them because of the EJ populations which are driving the environmental impact report. So that may involve multiple public meetings, just presenting what the project is, why we need it, why, why this alternative was chosen over the others. Basically, so the public can understand what's happening.
Kind of going through the process that we've gone through over the last several years in selecting the method that we've chosen, and trying to make that more generally known as to the reasons why, and want to congratulate Councilor Tyros on his great presentation and at a recent meeting about the effort to have a public meeting with one of the vendors, competing vendors who wanted to do it. So I'm glad that I wasn't able to be at that meeting, but I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
Part of having the public outreach is it's important to MIPA, where basically we've only heard opposition to the project. It's important to them that the public understands, and that people who may favor the project or the alternative that we've chosen have the ability to at least hear it and speak out in favor of it. Because again, it's been a small group of opposition driven by a few individuals that don't necessarily speak for the entire city. So that's part of it.
Load up.
Yep. And that's all I have for you this morning.
Okay, good. Question?
Yes,
Question?
one just came to me actually for both director and engineer. The Uptown Rotary project, is that no more expected changes?
Yeah,
for the
it's
winter?
buttoned up for the winter. They patched everything they did. You can see they stored their catch basin structures, manhole structures in the center of the island. They added some berm and asphalt material to protect work that would otherwise be in the way of plowing operations. And so, yeah, they're buttoned up. They removed all their flashing signs, so they're gone until spring.
Okay. And the anticipation is there been any change in the timeline for its completion?
I think fall completion is still their
Still in the
goal.
works?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
So, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Director, you're up.
Yeah, really nothing to report, Mr. Chairman, other than give a quick update on the Concom planning agent position. We interviewed 4 candidates. Actually got a surprisingly good number of candidates. Unfortunately, nobody with much experience, mostly recent graduates with environmental science degrees, which is pretty much what we're looking for, other than, the experience helps with filings and things like that. But, so I do have one candidate with some experience. We did 2 interviews on 2 of the candidates, and we selected one. So hopefully we'll have somebody on board within the next, sometime after the first of the year. Yeah, which is a good thing, because we get some filings that are backed up, and so we need somebody on board to do it. So that's all I got.
Nothing else? Anything about since you're here, and you have other responsibilities beyond the Conservation Commission in your department, other things that you'd like to share with us?
Where do I start? Not really. I mean, I haven't really put much thought into it other than the Concom, but, one thing I was thinking of when Dane was speaking about staffing and all that, I have had a good amount of turnover in our department too, for various reasons, but I can say that some of the reasons are pay rates that the city pays. And staff moving on, not necessarily for a position that's higher up. Advancement, but more for the money.
It's compensation.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a salary study that's supposed to be,
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent that will cover any of the positions, but we all anxiously await its distribution and implementation. so that we can catch up in various parts of the city, I think.
I mean, other than that, I really don't,
Any continuing projects that may be on hold now that will be, I mean, there was,
in the spring, yeah, we'll have Mackey Park. We had some funding issues there, but that will start up in the spring. Bike trail will continue with construction in the spring. The demo projects, corner of Willow and Main, across from the police station. The pool, indoor pool building, and that project, that'll all start in the spring. We'll hopefully be able to go out to bid this winter. Actually, it could even start this winter, the demo, depending on.
what is the Mackey Park, what is the concept of that at the present time?
The Mackey Park, so we're gonna tier the site going up towards the back. We're gonna have a berm coming off the back wall because, you know, if it's gonna be used by the public, it needs to be safe. And right now, that back retaining wall probably isn't the safest thing if you're gonna have people, you know, congregating on that grass area. So instead of building a whole new wall, which would be well over 6 figures, we're gonna have a berm coming down into the actual park, and then we're gonna tear it down with some outdoor seating, some permanent concrete cornhole. What do you call them? The cornhole games, yeah. With a fence around it, so more outdoor.
With some EV chargers too, we just voted for funding.
Yeah, so we're gonna run a lot, well, so, yeah, we're putting, thank you, we're putting a new transformer in on the Graham Street side of the park, so because there's a pole there that we'll be running it off of, and we're running conduit across the park to the West Street parking lot, and we'll be putting some EV chargers.
So there would be access to those through the park?
Well, yeah, that's how we're gonna power them, through that transformer. And we'll also be hooking, I think, all the lights up there to that transformer. Because right now, that transformer that runs all those lights and Victorian lighting and all that is in the Hub Insurance Building in their basement.
Is that right?
That's their basement. We've had various scenarios like that downtown. We corrected one down on Connor Street by putting that new one in, which
George Sweeney Park's the same thing as the transformer.
George Sweeney, was that where, okay, no, that's where it was. It wasn't Connor's, it was George Sweeney, yeah, thanks.
So we call those public-private partnerships?
Yeah, handshake deals. That was in the basement of the Bullnose building. Brought it out and put it out in the. Then we got phase 4 of the downtown improvements. That'll be crosswalks, sidewalks, additional lighting down in the Lower Parker, Nichols Street, Oak Street area, up to City Hall.
Lafayette Park, Lafayette Square.
Yeah, Dane actually did a lot of that work already, that we're targeting with the crossings and everything, but there is still some additional work to be done down there. We're gonna hit that. We'll probably design phase, I think it's phase 5, which is gonna be Willow Street, Main Street, Pleasant, in that area. That's, I think, the last phase of the downtown improvements.
And if I can ask you the status of the bike trail project going through Park Street over to 140, where are we on that?
So that's in the 25 to 30% design phase range, and so we're continuing with that. We're working with Rob and his designer on the overpass at 140, so it all ties in.
Right.
So National Grid is part of the conversation. We have both engineering firms talking to each other along with yeah, I mentioned National Grid, so that's moving forward. Yeah. The challenge there, obviously, is going to be funding. Rob's bridge funding is lined up as part of the TIP process. The bike trail still hasn't been given I don't think it's been given a year yet, because I don't think it's in the TIP process yet, because we haven't reached that 25%.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
approved yet, for
Yeah.
the tip fund.
but we should be getting that in soon, because we have got to that
And
percent.
what part does that cover, would that cover?
From Park Street out to 140.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just along the rail trail?
Yeah, because that's all gonna be tip funding. It's gonna be a, pricey endeavor. It's probably gonna be $3 to $4 million anyways.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna go through the tip process, which means it's Mass Dot, and it's at least a 24-month, 2-year
Window.
design process, design timeline.
It's moving along well.
It is, yep.
No further questions, thank you for the update.
Okay. Council requests. Councilor Taros?
Coming down, you guys answered all my questions that I had today, so I appreciate that, thank you.
Similar to me, similar to you, Councilor, I've been able to address the issues that I was interested in along the way of the meeting here, so I have nothing more to add, except that I want to, as I, in my term of office, I want to thank all of the people here in the department and the engineering and the Conservation Commission for the cooperation and information that you've been able to provide over the last couple of years. I've been appreciated by me, by the committee members, as well as the public at large, I'm sure. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your long service to the city, it's much appreciated.
It's just a little something from the DPW.
Oh, look at this. Wow, we have to take a look. So thank you very much, I think.
Piece of concrete sidewalk.
Close. Very, very
May have
close.
something to do with
Can I get a shot of you two over here?
Where is this gonna go?
it. Well, we can put a street sign for you up on Home Street.
One, two, three. Could you also just angle that right there? Because I got 1, 2, 3. Good, thank you.
That's great. You guys have thrown that one out. Thank you very much. It's even reflective. And after 42 years in public service, I'm very reflective about it. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
The motion stands, the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all very much. That's great. Look at that.